This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
Game week is upon us. We have made it to week one. Appetizer of college football this weekend, but now we dive in. Alabama underway, Auburn underway, everybody else underway this weekend. It is game week. You get college football on Thursday night. You get the NFL on Thursday night with Dallas and Philadelphia. You get the NFL Friday night also. Auburn, Baylor Friday night. Chiefs and Chargers Friday night. Full slate Saturday. We got games Sunday, games Monday. It is here, folks. We made it. But we had a nice little taste of college football from over the weekend. It started off with Kansas State and Iowa State. It was a sloppy game. You had some week one stuff going on. Now, weather obviously played into that just a little bit as well, but ball on the ground a little bit, some missed tackles, a couple of throws that were missed, some missed protections, guys falling down, sliding all over the place, but Iowa State gets to win 24-21. Really nice win from Matt Campbell. Rocco Beck, 14-28, 183, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Ran 12 times for 18 yards and a touchdown. Had a couple critical runs. Made some big throws late on big downs. 2:26 left, that 4th and 3 where he hits Carson Hansen out of the backfield. He went 16 carries for 71 yards also. It was kind of a gutsy performance, a gutsy win. They had to find some plays after Avery Johnson hit Jared Bradley GMAC on that 65-yard touchdown pass. 6:23 left at that point. Kansas State never got the ball back. Mm-hmm. That was it. Iowa State held it, slammed the door. They get their win to go 1-0. It was a fun way to start the college football season.
Yeah, and great situational awareness, too, from Iowa State throughout the game. A little sloppy with the ball handling in a couple spots. I hate that Dylan Edwards got banged up early. I haven't seen a prognosis on him, by the way. I forgot to check that out because I was a little concerned. I mean, he goes down on that punt return where he muffs it. Have we seen anything updated with him? Because he was a guy that a lot of people think could have been –
I know he was in a boot after the airport,
right? Or
at the airport, and I think they stayed overnight and flew back the next day.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that just means questionable. I haven't seen anything official from the school. So
yeah, I hadn't seen anything yet. I hate it. So hopefully he can be back because he's a guy that I think has, I don't know, the ability to kind of take over the game. I still think Avery Johnson showed some of the challenges of last year. Couple of inconsistent downfield throws. His accuracy downfield is just not good. At least it hasn't been up to this point in his career. Did have the throw to Bradley that was nice, but there's some room to grow there. That was a nice quick strike. They had a couple moments, but there were just too many missed opportunities there. 4th down inconsistencies from K-State. Just situationally, it just wasn't enough. So got to give credit to Iowa State for sure. I thought there were a lot of good things there, and especially in situational awareness, taking advantage of 4th down, bold dice rolls, like especially at the one at the end by Matt Campbell, and they did enough to get a win. It's well done.
So I thought that they did a nice job altering some things in the run game. Did not rely as much on the perimeter run. Kansas State did a nice job just kind of stretching it out. And I thought Iowa State did a better job of going a little more north and south in the second half. Felt like that was an adjustment they made with the run game. Some more direct quarterback runs to give you an extra blocker. But it was a nice game. Both these teams lost 2 fumbles in the game. Kansas State was actually better on 3rd down. I think Kansas State was 5 of 13, Iowa State 5 of 14. But 46 for 130 on the ground for Iowa State. A lot of that came in the second half. Kansas State 27 for 110. They get the win. And Matt Campbell, GMAC, talked about that offensive line in the second half and how that was probably a big reason that they were able to secure this victory.
I think we got the game back to our rhythm. You know, we were not in the best rhythm, in the first half. And again, there were a couple plays to be made that I think could have helped us go into a great rhythm. But, again, the offensive line battled today, and we have a lot of faith in those guys. Coach Clanton does a great job, and I think their ability to battle and not crumble, because I think I've been a part of those games, where it goes south early and you don't have the confidence to work yourself through it. So credit to them. They did a great job in the second half.
Part of the maturity, veterans, guys played together. We've talked about that a lot of college football teams are going to be searching for it, and you don't know if you have it or not. You don't know if you have resiliency. You don't know. I have guys that when things start going bad, they're going to come over to the sideline and lose their minds. They're going to be able to calm guys down. It's going to make them play better, focus more. You just don't know with a lot of these teams. It's a massive uncertainty for a lot of coaches heading into this college football season. That rushing attack, Matt Campbell also said, critical for why his team was able to get a win.
Yeah, I think we were able, number one, it is a little skewed because we gave up a couple sacks in the first half, right? I think there's 4 sacks or 3 sacks, which is very uncharacteristic of us. So we weren't great early. I think the other part of it is obviously, they were a 3-down team a year ago. This time they're a 4-down team. We had to work ourselves through that in the first half. And that's one nice thing about having continuity in your coaching staff is you can make great adjustments. And I thought we did a great job of that at halftime and tried to put our kids in the best situation for us to be successful.
I think, too, Greg, I was not alarmed at some individuals getting beat. There was 1 or 2 of those, but some of the pressures that were not picked up by Iowa State, that was one thing I would have left that game thinking, okay, this cannot continue. Mm-hmm. This could be something that could really hold us back.
Well, the offensive line it looked like week 0. I mean, it really did. There were a couple of holes in the run game that were opened up by way of defenders just getting out of the way, kind of running themselves out of position. So it's easy to kind of look at and say, well, the offensive line, look at the numbers. It wouldn't have been that bad. I thought kind of the opposite. And one big takeaway for me, I don't know where you're at on this. I didn't come out of this thinking that either one of those teams is going to be a challenger in the Big 12. Partly because I think the areas in which I thought they could be strong, they weren't necessarily. Like, I actually like Kansas State's wideouts. I think that group's pretty good. That was a question mark position for me. I wasn't overwhelmingly impressed with either offensive line. I wasn't overwhelmingly impressed with the front 7 defensively of either team. Did you come out of this thinking as though either one of those 2 teams is a legit playoff contender?
No, but I have. It's funny that you brought that up. I was talking college football with a friend last night. And
really,
we were talking about some things as it pertains to this upcoming season and kind of how we're going to handle them and what we're going to do. And I have had this conversation with myself multiple times already heading into this season, and that is I'm going to be very careful with definitives the first few weeks of this season. I think it kind of re-hit me when I watched the Netflix deal about the SEC and saw what happened to South Carolina week 1 last year, and just kind of things are going to take a while to get worked out. Things are going to take a while to calm down for a lot of these teams.
Yeah.
And teams are going to grow leaps and bounds. They always do, but I think now with the portal and roster turnover, I think teams have a chance to be so much different week 1 to week 3. Week 3 to week 7, so on and so forth. So I'm going to try to be careful without definitives early because I feel like they have a better chance of backfiring now than they ever have.
Love it. Question: did you come out of it thinking that Iowa State and or Kansas State could legitimate be a playoff contender?
No, I still think Iowa State can win the Big 12.
One word answer.
No.
Yes. I won't make definitives. I won't make definitives. Feet to the fire, Cole. No. Perfect. I agree with you.
Playoff is different.
I agree with you.
I'm not gonna say.
And it's a little dependent on what we see from the rest of the Big 12. So if you want to reserve judgment until we see the rest of the Big 12 play this week, totally good with that. I really did.
But here's the part I think is a little bit unfair about that. If Clemson goes out and looks sloppy against LSU, I don't think anybody's going to be sitting there saying, that's not a playoff team.
Yeah.
They'll be like, it's first game. They'll figure some things out.
Tyler from Spartanburg might.
Fair. I'll give you that one.
Fair.
Not sure that's the one that I'm going to be looking to get my opinion changed on whether or not that team's going to be able to go to the college football playoff or win their conference. But either way, I think the biggest surprise for me coming out of this game, and I don't know why I just assumed that they didn't, is that both these teams play Saturday. Honestly.
Like this upcoming Saturday?
Yes.
Yes.
And I know that the travel, they had to come back the next day. So, and some people will say, Iowa State's playing South Dakota. Well, that's a team that's in the playoffs and make playoff runs every year. And we've seen a couple FCS wins the last few years against Division I teams. Kansas State got to go play North Dakota. Might not be as good.
Yeah.
But still, the fact that they got to go out and play a football game again on Saturday, I think is egregious. And Matt Campbell actually spoke about his schedule after the game.
I think we're set up for failure because I think this is the hardest schedule in the country. And the reality of it is, we go home and we play an incredible South Dakota team that's coming in, and they had a great year. You're talking about a team that's in the Final Four, right? And then obviously you play another huge rival game that's going to have emotion. And then somehow we're on the road at an Arkansas State team that we know is super talented. That's the first quarter of our football season. And it's going to take everything we got. And I think our kids know that. We've talked about that, and that's not an excuse. Nobody really cares, and we don't care. We just know that's the schedule at hand, and it's going to take everything that we've got the ability to do to be our best in the moment. So I think it's a great challenge. Winning the game is great, but the reality of it is how we grow from this game. Can we handle the trip back home? Man, can we be ready for next Saturday? And, that unbelievable fan base, it was awesome to have them here tonight, but we're going to need them times 10 every step of the way from here. And so hopefully this will keep them coming.
All right, so folks aren't going to like what he said, but when you think about who they are and what they're going up against, you can make the argument. The fact that you got to come back from Dublin and play South Dakota at 2:30, not even a night game. You got to play in the morning, and then you come back the next week and play for the Cy-Hawk Trophy at 11 a.m. And then you're in Jonesboro. Now, I know you should handle that team. You should beat that team. That shouldn't be a problem. But how that game got scheduled like that after you're in Ireland 3 weeks earlier doesn't seem to make a ton of sense. They get Arizona. They're at Cincinnati, then at Colorado the following week. BYU, Arizona State, at TCU, Kansas, then at Oklahoma State. It's a tough road. And it's going to take maturity. It's going to take guys understanding how to get their rest, how to get their legs back, how to focus back in on football, different things like that. But kids are also getting paid a lot of money. We don't really feel sorry for them.
Correct.
But the thing that took away from this was that's a little uncharacteristic for Matt. And I'm beginning to wonder, is he maybe trying to send a message to somebody there of how in the world did we let this happen?
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen the numbers yet. Can someone help me out with the television numbers? Because I haven't seen them posted, and this is usually, usually out by now. So that'll be pretty easy to explain why they did what they did. Because I would imagine the numbers probably pretty good from this past Saturday. So that's why you did it. And I think that it's easy to sit there and say, well, our schedule is really difficult. No doubt. It's the Big 12. Every team you play can beat you. And guess what? You can beat every team. At least you can beat every team. In other conferences, that's not always the case for a team that has been, 5th or 6th in the league, thereabouts, for the last 10 years. So let's just add it up. Like, would you rather be Iowa State and play the schedule they had to play, including their trip to Dublin with 3 byes built into their regular season schedule? Or would you rather be a team like, I don't know, Iowa and have to play against Penn State, Ohio State in your conference en route to the college football playoff? Personally, I'd rather be Iowa State. No disrespect to Iowa State or Iowa or the Big 12 or the Big 10. I think with 3 byes, Iowa State has a chance to legitimately win every game. Iowa doesn't. Iowa probably, the only way they get into the playoff is if there's carnage elsewhere. So I don't know about you. I think it's easy to kind of send a message, but let's just see the numbers. These are programs that if they played on Saturday this weekend at noon, they are going to have a far, far, far smaller audience than playing last Saturday in a standalone window on ESPN. Because if you put this matchup against Texas, Ohio State, not watching, and no one's going to watch. You put it against Florida State, Bama, probably not going to get a very big number. Put it against LSU, Clemson, probably not going to get a huge number. Okay, well, let's try it on Sunday. All right, sounds good. Play it at night? No, don't want to challenge Notre Dame, Miami. Okay, what about 3:30? Yep, South Carolina playing Virginia Tech. Like, it's a good game. It's a ranked game. It's a mashup game. The reason why you played it is because you are going to get a massive audience. So don't complain. It's a good spot.
Yeah. We'll continue to take a look for those. I can't find them.
No, not out yet, which is a little concerning.
Yeah, so that's a little bit odd, a little bit strange if that's the case. A lot more to get to from the college football weekend. Games that have already kicked off, performances that we already saw. Before we go to break, though, Chris Kleiman on the loss for his Kansas State Wildcats.
Both teams had an opportunity, and both teams' defenses stepped up and got big stops or turnovers in the red zone. And then we get to the second half, and We struggled with a little bit of rhythm at first offensively, and then they got a little bit of rhythm and were able to get up a score. Proud of our guys to come back and fight and get it tied and then go down again. Bottom line, we're disappointed. Came here expecting to win and didn't win. But I'm proud of the guys, and like I told them in the locker room, regardless of what this game was, we had 11 more left, and we've got to go back, regroup, get some guys healthy. We were down some guys. We got to get some guys back and get ready to go Saturday.
All right, so that's Chris Kleiman on his Kansas State football team, starting out 0-1 on the season. We mentioned the K-State next week. We'll have North Dakota. That's a 6 p.m. game on ESPN+. Then they go Army at Arizona, UCF at Baylor, TCU at Kansas, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State on the road, Utah on the road, and Colorado to finish it off. Other games over the weekend. News on Alabama and Auburn over the weekend. We get to all that next right here on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, and three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
Welcome back in. McElroy Cubelic in the morning, 7:19 right here on Jocks 94.5. He joins us each and every week thanks to our friends at Craneworks. It's not on Tuesday this week. It's actually on Monday. You can see him on the SEC Network. You've got SEC Nation coming up this weekend. You can hear him live right here on Jocks, 2 to 6 p.m. It's Paul Finebaum.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Paul Finebaum on Mac and Cube in the morning is brought to you by Craneworks. Lift it, buy it, rent it, the big dog's got it. Now, Paul Finebaum.
Paul, always great to have you in on a Monday morning. Last weekend of practice for all these SEC teams, heading into game week. What's your biggest question? What's your biggest point of concern? Number one thing you're looking to find out here in week one for any SEC football team?
Cole, it is Friday night at Waco. I want to know what's going on with Auburn because forget all the nonsensical conversation off the field. What is Jackson Arnold going to look like on the field? Is this team really as good as some people are whispering from a talent standpoint? How do they mesh together? They have a good staff down there. They have the best roster under Hugh Freeze. And what do they do in a moment of truth? And I think this really is because of the very obvious that they don't have a lot of games to throw away. And this is a game that I think perceptively looks like a very narrow win. But it's up against a team that in the Big 12 is considered to be a riser, a very good coach, a team that has come back from the dead, and a win energizes a possibly really good season, and a loss does just the opposite.
Looking at this upcoming week, though, for Auburn in general, in the event in which they go and lose a hard-fought battle to a good team, does anyone care? Because I think we all know Baylor's legit. But I don't know how many people out there nationally understand that Baylor's legit. So the reason why I find this game so problematic is the fact that the national perception of Baylor is probably inaccurate, and they should have a higher opinion across the board of what the Bears can possibly do. Is that fair?
Yeah, it is. I think one of the Auburn's biggest issues is just trying to get back on the national scene, Greg. And I'm not telling you guys anything because you guys are part of that scene, but yeah, on all the shows outside of the SEC footprint, Auburn doesn't exist anymore. I've been on some of these shows, and you know you have too, Greg, where I've suggested certain stories at Auburn, and they're met like, Auburn? What is that? What is that? And we know how big Auburn has been, and it wasn't all that long ago. But when you have a losing streak like the school has had, you had the kind of disheartening seasons. You move out of the main lane, and in college football is so much bigger than it was 5 years ago, and all the energy. It's about a handful of schools. Alabama is part of that. Auburn is not, at least not right now.
So ultimately, what do you expect, start to end, for Hugh Freeze this season? Will Auburn fans come away excited, happy? Will it be disappointment again on the Plains?
I feel good, and it's easy to be an optimist on a gorgeous late summer morning in Alabama when the record is 0-0. So I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I think for all the criticism that he has received, and much of it is self-inflicted. At the core, he's a good football coach. He's got everything he needs. And I don't know with a guy with the kind of record that he has and some of the off-the-field miscues that he has suffered, could he have any more support from John Cohn and this administration? So I mean, I'm not predicting a playoff. I think 8-4 would be considered a reasonable record. I think that is doable. I think the home schedule is favorable in the sense of, the two biggest games of the year are at home, and Auburn has the ability to perhaps shock one of those two, meaning Georgia or Alabama.
Looking at Alabama this week, Paul, I think it's also a bit of a dangerous game. I do think there's a little bit of ghost chasing that's to be expected. New offensive coordinator, new quarterback. Will they look more like Mike Norvell, or would they look more like Gus Malzahn? Those two teams, those two identities philosophically are not necessarily in line. So what is Kane Wommack preparing for? Things like that. However, I still think if Bama just takes care of business, doesn't make mistakes, they'll be fine in this game. What's your viewpoint of this matchup for the Tide?
I'm really interested in what you just alluded to, and Greg, you can only listen to the rumor mill so long. But there's something about Gus Malzahn and Mike Norvell I don't get. I think I understand why he was hired, because he's a very smart, innovative at times, predictable at others, offensive coordinator. But I just do not see these guys on the same page for very long, and that I think is perhaps the issue, or could be the issue for Florida State. I wouldn't be surprised if the game starts off slow for Alabama. I don't think Alabama needs to do anything spectacular other than just get out of there. Whatever the game looks like, it will be overanalyzed. A big win or a field goal at the end. But I do feel very confident Alabama is going to win, and this game will be forgotten quickly as long as that is the outcome.
Flip that conversation to LSU. How do they need it to look? How do they need it to go? Even if they were to come out with an L in this game, is there something they need to prove? Something we need to walk away saying about Brian Kelly's team?
This is a different situation. I mean, this can be a 31-30 game that Clemson wins with 0-0-0 on the clock, and it's still not going to make any difference to LSU fans because they've been there too many times. There's no such thing as a must-win in the opening game when you have a 12-team playoff and you have a couple, especially with LSU's schedule, you probably have 3 losses that will still get you into the CFP. But I don't need to give this audience an education on LSU fans. Everybody knows 1 or 2 or 3 or 100, and they will overreact if this is a loss.
What do you think, Paul, about the long-term prospects of Brian Kelly if they lose this game? Because I feel like nobody gives him any credit for anything. I look back at year 1, they get to the SEC championship game. Everyone just routinely forgets that matchup and how they beat Bama that year, all the other good stuff that they accomplished. So help me out. Like, where are they at in the event in which they lose this game and Rally ended up having a pretty good year?
Well, I think if they have a good year and get to the playoffs, I don't think this game will matter a whole lot. I think it was 2016-17, one of those years. Remember when Alabama played Florida State in the opener? It was 1 versus 3, and it ended up hurting Alabama because Florida State was so bad. That's not the case here, but I think we overemphasize opening games with all the questions that everybody gets asked. But I think if he loses this game, he then is going to deal with 2 or 3 weeks of a lot of noise. He absolutely must beat Florida then in a couple of weeks and deal with the schedule. And the schedule, for those who don't swim in these waters every day, is pretty treacherous, especially with road games at Ole Miss and at LSU and at Alabama, of course. And that's where he has to deal with the pressure. But one thing about Brian Kelly, he's dealt with it. He's not shrugging his shoulders. But pressure at LSU is not a whole lot different than pressure at Notre Dame, which he had to deal with, especially after a losing season up there where a lot of people thought he should have been fired.
You look at the rest of the league, Paul. Is there somebody else that needs to prove something? Is there somebody else, whether it's Missouri in their quarterback situation, whether it's a team in one side of the football, a coach just need to get off to a good start? somebody we haven't mentioned. It's this Oklahoma team maybe making some sort of a stance that they can be a real player with all the buzz that they've begun to get the last 2 months. Who else needs to prove something this weekend in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mark Stoops probably. This is a program that has been known to lose games it shouldn't be losing, and considering Ole Miss is around the corner, he needs to look good because I mean we all know he's got a $35 million buyout, which almost everyone agrees can't be paid. But just try losing an opener and then lose to Ole Miss the next week and suddenly have another lost season before you're even to the first day of autumn, and that pressure will overwhelm you. I think another coach that's playing a tricky game is Josh Heupel. Tennessee's had another off season like Auburn, where with Nico leaving, a lot of people wondering. This was a playoff team last December. We're going to have to remind people of that a lot of times, but Syracuse is coming off a big year. I feel pretty comfortable with Aguilar at Tennessee, but I also think that's a game that you better keep your eyes on.
Paul, we always appreciate the time. Always great catching up with you. Enjoy week 1, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Cole. See you guys.
There we go. Paul Finebaum. Thanks to our friends at Craneworks joining us on the Higginbotham hotline. Some questions that he needs answered for week 1. I'll ask you, the listeners. We don't have another guest until 8:15. What are your questions for week 1? What are the things you need answered this weekend, be it Alabama, Auburn, any other SEC team, any other team nationally that you want to get out there and you feel like I need to see this from this person? We'll get to our weekends when we come back because I had an 8-year-old ask me 2 very interesting questions at Auburn's practice yesterday, and I want to hear the group's answers for those questions because it's not something I feel like we've talked about in the manner in which it was asked to me. First, I'll tell you about train. You guys know it might be cool. By the way, have you seen the weather for this weekend?
Yeah, amazing.
It's
not mad about it.
We're going to be spoiled this weekend because you know that the heater is going to flip right back on after that. We're going to melt the next 3 weeks of college football. However, it is going to be mild this week, but the heat's going to come back. Don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Train cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand 11 consecutive years. They're the official cooling partner here at Jocks. Find a comfort specialist near you at Train.com. It's hard to stop a Train. 2 questions from my 8-year-old when we come back for the group next right here on Jocks.
The capital of the sports talk nation. This is Jocks 94.5 and JocksFM.com. Birmingham.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy Cubelic in the morning. It is 7:33, Monday, August 25th, right here on Jocks. I want to get to our weekends here in just a moment. I feel like it was a reoccurring theme for some. Before we get to our weekends, and you guys can be a part of this conversation as well, 800-239-9569. Text in 205-834-9450. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. Watch live on YouTube. Tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jocks skill. You can listen that way, or go get the Jocks app. Podcast links you to YouTube. Listen live right there. Greg, tell our listeners about Polar Bear Services.
Well, I've been using Wes and the guys for a long time. They've recently been out helping me with my plumbing. Had some bad water pressure. Had to get a pump replaced. They ended up coming out doing an amazing job. Now it's like every time I get in the shower, it's like a fire hose. It's just so much water pressure. It's something that we've been dealing with for a long time. All it was one call and got taken care of. Thanks to Wes and the guys, man. They're so good at what they do. They do an incredible job. They have always left me very satisfied with the experience that I've had when they come out to the house and get things taken care of. They've helped me out the HVAC system as well. Got done with a run this morning, went in, stood over the air conditioning unit as I was like dripping sweat. Thing's blowing like 40 degrees. It's got to be. There's plenty of Freon in that sucker. Thanks to my friends at Polar Bear Services. They can also help with your electrical as well. So remember, if you have a problem with your electrical, plumbing, heat, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bears, 205-497-BEAR. That's 497-BEAR.
Before we get to our weekend, Greg Hendricks tweeting in, me personally, I'd like to see Georgia get off to a fast start for once and to see if we can stop the run. I haven't heard a consistent theme of can Georgia stop the run. I understand that the front seven is going to be a little bit different, but is that a real concern of yours, G-Mac? We just haven't gone into a lot of seasons saying, is Georgia going to stop the run this year?
God's honest truth, though, you really look at their defense against the run to forever be what, top 3? On a bad year, they were 3rd.
Yeah, it used to be where you got to the end of the year and it was them and Iowa and somebody else that have given up like 1 and 2 rushing touchdowns. And you're just like, oh, how do you do that in an entire season? I get that part.
And they're like low 20s. So from a Georgia fan, we say this all the time. from a Georgia fan's perspective, that is a fair concern. They're still among the best in college football. But I understand where they're coming from because against the run, particularly on the edges, a la Georgia Tech last year, a la Georgia Tech the year before, a la Missouri 2 years ago, there have been the last couple of years where they've looked a little human against the run, which I can understand why they're a little frustrated by that.
Well, Marshall's going to start 8 transfer players on offense.
Marshall's going to be terrible.
So I think that's the other reason I'm a little maybe curious as to why this is as big of a question. But, hey, everybody got different things they're worried about going in. Brad Chandler, really for both teams, I want to see if situational football starts out better, especially for Auburn. Also, I think last Alabama had a bunch of me guys. So I think a lot of folks in this room right now would feel in a very similar way. All right, how was your last weekend before football, G-Mac?
Awesome. Took my son to camp. Slept in some bunks. Twins.
So you went to like a camp.
Oh, I went to camp.
A campground.
Yeah, like camp, like real camp.
Okay.
Like sitting in the mess hall camp.
The woods. Ugh.
Okay.
Like zipline camp. Like rope course camp. Like we're gonna play water balloon toss at 8:00 at night camp.
Because you had some questions about these camps about 3 months ago on this show. On these
for
airwaves.
that reason, because it was coming.
I feel like the questions were a little different then. A little bit more of the financial aspect, but okay.
Yeah, this was father-son camp, so I was involved. Therefore, spending the money that wasn't a big deal. I'm glad they upgrade myself.
We can do that
naturally. I mean, there's a guy who got upgraded on his honeymoon. Did let my wife sit up front for at least the first 20, 25 minutes of the flight, and I found my way up to the front because I was just a little uncomfortable back there. But I digress.
What is this coach?
Stop.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The commoners.
Are you admitting that you and your wife had one first class ticket via upgrade?
No, we
going
had
to
one
your honeymoon, and you
we had one
let
pod.
her have it for a little bit.
We had
and then,
one pod, and then we had one business class.
Sacrifice.
And you sent her back to business class after.
To be honest with you,
a few minutes.
She sent me up. She goes, "You're gonna care about this more than I am. Go ahead and go up there." That's what my wife has a servant's heart. I appreciate her.
Okay.
But yes, that is accurate. So yes, when it comes to the financials of camp, if I'm going, I will splurge on a camp that has air conditioning. Confirmed. This one, however, did not. And on Friday night, I was mildly uncomfortable.
So you're saying you'll splurge for the money for your kids moving forward because of what you experienced?
No, they're on their own. But when I am involved, we will 100% be
moving forward.
Gotcha.
We'll be going.
They had their chance.
We'll be going to bougie camp when Dad goes. When kids go,
save all those comments from Greg on those camps from like 3 months ago for when he does go there, because those folks were called out on the show, and now it's like, oh yeah.
I didn't call anybody out for sending their kids to fancy camp. I just feel like when the whole reason to go away to camp and meet new people and stuff, and you go with like 12 buddies from 4th grade, and you guys are all in the same class, I mean, it feels like you're kind of missing the point. So you take basically your whole squad that you that you hang out with on a weekly basis, and you just relocate. Yeah, you just relocate.
That was Camp Cosby, right? Yeah.
So you go from playing, Call of Duty or Fortnite, whatever it is, your little 5th grade pals. No, but in some cases, yes. I mean, we don't play it. We don't play any video games in our house. But
we did have the guy that took us around the Auburn facility yesterday. Is looking at my 8-year-old and my 5-year-old. He's like, "So what are you guys into? Like Fortnite and Call of Duty?" I was like, "No, not quite yet. Thanks for asking, though."
Yeah,
I'm trying to steer clear of that for now. But we're in kindergarten and 2nd grade. Thank you.
Correct.
A little early. That up.
But the mom text
gets sniping guys, out in the field just yet. Waiting on that one.
The mom text gets going though. It's like, hey, is Johnny going to camp this year? Perfect. Oh yeah, he's going what week? Oh, he is? Awesome. We'll send Vince too. Oh wait, hang on. Johnny and Vince are going? Oh, amazing. Let's let Willie go also. And then hang on a second. Willie and
There's
Johnny
a Willie
and Vince.
In your son's school.
No, I'm just making up names.
Right. Let's be honest.
He's definitely William. Yeah. He's definitely
William.
No, the only difference between Willie, it's like Willie the Fifth is at Vince's school. It's like King's names. Vince is the third, so I am part of of
Hear ye.
Vince third, Vince 3. But I feel like when you get all the kids together and like you guys are together all
V3
school
logo
year,
in fourth grade.
you play on the same basketball team, play on the same baseball team, you play on the same flag football team, you play on the same soccer team. Now you're going to camp together. It's like, hang on a second, can we just like mix it up a hair? Like, you know what? There are other places beyond this little small kingdom that we live in. So that was my only issue with camp.
Well, it must have been the theme because my 8-year-old and I went to Bruce Pearl's father-son basketball camp this weekend. It was incredible. It was amazing. It was great. I mean, it fits. It works just because obviously him and Steven, but the way it was put together was awesome. It was a lot of fun. We had a blast. Stuck around for practice yesterday, and it was really cool to just kind of see some of the guys. This is the first time I had been in that facility, to be honest with you, which is strange, but I haven't had a game there in 2.5 years. So
you haven't had a basketball game there?
I haven't had a football game like to cover. So – But when we've gone down for basketball games, most of the coaches have been out of town and just haven't either went down and came back, haven't really stayed to go back in there, so just hadn't walked in. Nonetheless, it's pretty impressive. You realize they have 2 locker rooms?
No.
Yeah, like home and away. That makes sense.
They have a locker room for their pads and everything.
Oh, wow.
And then they have a locker room for
you're talking about the football
players.
facility.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I thought you were talking about basketball.
Like I knew LSU had the deal where they walk out and they put all their pads on like the like steamers or defumigators, whatever they are, and like they don't have to take them into the actual locker room. These kids have a whole nother locker room where they put their helmet, their pads, their pants, everything.
Yeah.
And then there's like a little like washing machine deal. Like you walk through, it sprays you off, and then you go into the locker room. Okay. So like your stuff in your actual locker is never gross. You have no gross stuff in there.
So it's like the opening of the Jetsons where like he's getting ready on
It's
the
amazing.
conveyor belt.
I'm like, it's brilliant, but 2 locker rooms feels like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's all a lot for all these kids, to be honest with you. I mean, it's just, it is. It's incredible what they have. Nonetheless, so this is kind of what got me to this point. I will just say, like, my 8-year-old and I were co-slam dunk champions of Bruce Pearl's father-son camp.
Okay.
It's just, it happens.
There we go.
May or may not have the medal in the office, but, you know, had to throw that out there.
Oh, it's almost like you are on the radio and can talk about said camp, and therefore
I feel like it was earned.
There we go.
I don't feel like everybody on that staff knows who I am.
Yep,
I don't feel like those judges outside of Marquise Daniels.
Griffin
Marquise Daniels actually did not give me our highest score.
Oh, wow.
And Blake Griffin earned the slam dunk contest when he jumped over a Kia.
When I presented the idea to my son,
yeah,
he's like, this is never going to work. And I said, I've done these before. I'm going to tell you what works is entertainment, not the best dunk. And he was wrong. I was right. There you go.
There we go.
Nonetheless, it was a great time. So we're walking around practice, and I wanted to get it made me think, and I wanted to get you guys to respond in a similar fashion to 2 things my son asked me at practice yesterday. Because we actually were watching, and like Eric Singleton ran around and kind of came in front of us, and I was like, that's the best player on the Auburn football team. Don't let your friends at school tell you anything different because they're going to try to. That's the best player on the football team right there. He's like, oh, okay. And he said, Dad, who's the best player in college football? Go.
You asking me?
I'm asking all of you.
Best pound for pound player?
Best football player in college football.
Jeremiah Smith or Caleb Downs?
I was going to say Jeremiah Smith.
That's the first one that came to mind for me.
That's who I went to, but I did have to think about it for a second. And obviously, I think you immediately go quarterbacks, and you're like, okay, Nuss, Meyer, Klubnik. No, I'm not going to go. It's obviously not Arches. And I was like, well, this is a receiver at Ohio State that you probably hadn't seen play much. But, yeah, that's where I went. But you try to do your due diligence while you're thinking about it, like, who am I missing out here? Like, Dylan Stewart, probably not there yet. But it was just interesting to think, like, it should be a lot of times we know, like, okay, because I think this year all of the list of Heisman favorites would be 4 or 5 even further down on a lot of people's lists of best players in college football. Like where you just went, there are a lot of other guys that we may put up there ahead of who the Heisman favorites are, nonetheless. So then we were just watching different plays or whatever, and we started talking about running backs, and he's like, well, who's the best running back in college football?
Best running back, probably Mekhi Hughes.
And the reason it was hard was because of how many running backs left last year.
Right.
It was maybe the deepest running back class in the history of the NFL draft that we've seen. I went Jeremiah Love at Notre Dame, but I had to think about it for a second because, once again, I think your brain immediately starts saying, who am I leaving out? because you don't want to answer and then, I forgot about that guy.
Yeah.
I love Mekhi Hughes.
No, you're better off waiting. But I think Mekhi Hughes, they're going to ride him, man. He's going to get a lot of touches.
He asked me after that who the best running back was in the SEC, which is usually a really easy answer.
Right.
My answer was I think it'll be Jaden Baugh at the end of the season.
Oh, God.
But I think there are probably different names you could kick around and have a debate before the season. Nonetheless,
before the season, it's very dependent on health. That's the hardest part about evaluating the SEC running backs, because a lot of the guys that I have a ton of faith in are coming off of injury.
Totally fair.
Like I love Le'Veon Moss. Love.
Right.
At Texas A&M. I love Jaden Ott at Oklahoma. When they're going, like at their best, those guys can go. So yeah, while I'm really optimistic about those guys, I don't know for certain how it's going to play out. I love CJ Baxter at Texas, coming off an injury.
Yep, multiple ACLs.
I mean, there's just a handful of guys that are coming off an injury, so it depends a little bit. Logan Diggs might have a huge year maybe they have a big year. I have no idea, probably not, but possible.
He could benefit greatly from everything else they're going to have. He's not going to have the offensive line to just push you around, but if they can spread it and get it out quick the way that it looks like they're going to intend to, they could loosen the defense up to where his downhill style could be. He could really benefit from that. Like I love Cedric Alexander at Vanderbilt. I don't think he's going to get 30 carries a game to really prove that he can be that guy, but I don't think athletically, physically, what he's capable of doing is very far off from anybody else in the league at all. I think Jaden Baugh physically is a little bit different than everybody else. I think Ahmad Hardy has a chance to be in that discussion, but he hasn't played SEC football yet. We said the same thing about Montrell Johnson. We loved him at Florida for a while. Yeah. So, he made the transition okay and made it work. I just thought there were some interesting questions there because usually we're like, oh, that guy.
But it's gone so far away from like bell cow. Everything in the world of college football has gone more towards spreading the love. For example, the only teams that ever get to bell cows, even dating back about people forget this. Like, oh, Derrick Henry, man, what a bell cow. The reason why he was a bell cow is because Kenyon Drake broke his leg. Like, he wouldn't have been a bell cow if Kenyon Drake had stayed healthy.
I think
he got
fair.
hurt.
It's totally fair, but also I think just physically, normal years we ask that question and you're like, oh, this guy, for sure. And we just kicked around 7 to 10 different names that could fall into that mix, could be in that conversation, might be that guy, but we just don't know just yet, which is going to make this season even more fun because different guys are going to step up. And one of the guys that you and I would have thought would have been in that mix, J.M. Miller, doesn't look like he's going to be back until the Georgia game. So he won't have that chance until quarter way through the season.
Hopefully back for the Georgia game.
All right, we'll give you some updates on that. Talk more college football next right here on Jocks.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, and three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
Couple other folks chiming in with questions early college football season, what they want answered, what they're looking for. You give us yours. Is there something, let's just stick within the SEC right now, Auburn, Alabama, other teams like Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee, that you feel like you need answers for, questions that will get answered? Texas obviously has a big one. How many top 10 games do you think are being played this weekend? If we took the entire season of college football and said, all right, pick your top 10 games of the year right now. You had to project them out what they're going to be. Are we getting at least 2 of the top 10 football games of the season this weekend?
I think you could go 3. I think there's a legitimate argument to be made for 3.
LSU, Clemson, Texas, Ohio State, and
Notre Dame, Miami. Those are 3 games that you fast forward to season's end. The impact of the outcome of those games could be significant, especially when looking at the Notre Dame Miami game. I'm not promoting that game because that's the game I'm doing. I'm not. I'm purely suggesting that those could be at season's end fringe playoff teams, and the outcome of this game could very heavily factor in to one team getting in over the other. The ACC in the event in which Miami wins, the likelihood of them getting 2 teams in becomes very, very real, especially if Miami can beat Florida at home with a win over Notre Dame, playoff contender, and a win over an SEC team that a lot of people have respect for is huge for Miami. So I think that's a big one. And then for Notre Dame, how many other games will be, quote, marquee for them this year? Now, I think SC's got a chance to be really good, but I don't know for sure. How many other games on Notre Dame? Boise? Come on. At home? Like, I would think Notre Dame would win that game, but they don't have a lot of marquee opportunities on their schedule to say, man, that's a good win. You go to Miami, and Miami makes it to the ACC title game. That's a big one. You're not going to get that at Pitt. You're not going to get that at Boston College. You might not even get that against SC at home. So they need Miami to be good for them to have comparable respect level to what they had last year.
That's totally fair. You're going to get in-state teams in action early this weekend. Also, UAB at home against Alabama State, 7:30 on ESPN Plus Thursday night. You're also going to get Jacksonville State at UCF for the Scott Frost re-debut for the Knights at 6 o'clock on ESPN Plus Thursday night. That's just Thursday night. I'd say a big one Thursday night, G-Mac, that I'm anxious to see is Boise and South Florida.
At 4:30 Central Time.
Let's
There
go.
we go.
The get off work early special.
I'll be deep in the weeds by that point. I might need to start pre-gaming around noon.
That will lead into Nebraska at Cincinnati.
What time are we tailgating?
7 o'clock, 7 to 10.
Y'all come over to the house. Y'all come over to the house at about 1 o'clock.
Get your electric smoker going.
I mean, I'll be tailgating before three-man front gets off.
Todd McEwen tweets in, scared to death of Toledo coming into Lexington and winning. Talk me off the ledge. I can't. You should be. Zach Calzada named the starter, but I would be nervous about that game.
Bully ball. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, please.
Bully ball. You'll be fine.
Justin Page tweets in, I want to see Auburn's O-line give Arnold time to throw and allow AU to have sustained drives. I also want to see 0 offensive turnovers and finish in the red zone.
Here we go. Seems reasonable.
Is that asking a lot for week 1? I mean, I know those things you want to see, but that's
sounds like good, clean football.
also things that just really good football teams do. You're asking for all that week 1. I think we would all hope to see that, but no turnovers? How about no penalties too? How about 50-yard kick returns just to start it off there? Back with more next on Jocks.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.